One of the things you're going to work on this week is identifying the components of a Pearl paragraph and also starting to build one of your own. I'm going to give you some help and some support with this first one. Hopefully it sounds familiar to you. If you went to school at BRMS last year or in Manatee County, hopefully you're familiar with the Pearl format. But essentially, it's a way of organizing your writing. It's a way to make sure that you have a clear focus, that you have supported your ideas with text that you've actually read, and also that you have your own thoughts about it. And that's all very important when you're writing, especially when we get to the point where we're putting essays together. So we're just going to start this week with looking at the components. You're going to actually practice that a little bit yourself and then do some writing to show me in class so that I can give you some feedback. First of all, let's look at the components. The point is basically what the whole paragraph is about. It's the central idea. You might have also heard of it as the topic sentence. It states the focus of your paragraph. What is this paragraph about? What can I expect to be reading here? So I gave you some examples here at the bottom. For example, cats are a sensible pet choice. I should know as the reader that I am going to read a paragraph explaining to me why that is true and giving evidence why that is true. The main character deals with many conflicts. That means the paragraph is going to be about a character that deals with conflicts. Technology advances are happening rapidly. We can expect to read about those advances happening quickly. Florida beaches are experiencing decreased tourism. Again, what is the paragraph going to be about? Well, I expect it's going to be about the tourism at beaches. These are statements, they're one sentence, and they simply state a clear point. Next up is the evidence. Now, the evidence needs to be based on what the text says. And so anytime you're asked to write a Pearl paragraph, that means there's accompanying text. You're going to have read something and have pieces of text that you can incorporate into your writing. Basically, this is the proof. If I make a statement based on something I've read, I need to be able to pull a piece of what I read and plug it into my writing. So you have to think, what did you read that supports your point? So here's an example. The article states 90% of pet owners agree that they spend less money on their cat than their dog. So that's a piece of evidence that supports my idea that cats are a sensible pet choice. One of the things you'll notice, and it's the same for all of these, in the story, the passage refers according to Travel Magazine. What you'll notice is that the evidence often has a clue that it came from a text. We're going to refer to that text. Next thing, analysis. Now, this is where your own brain comes in. This is not from the text. This is your own thoughts and words. You kind of have to make something up. You have to come up with something of your own here. And what you're really trying to show is that piece of evidence I picked matters, and here's why. So what I have here are all three that we've looked at so far: a point, a piece of evidence, and my analysis. First up is the point. It's the same point I showed you at the beginning. Cats are a sensible pet choice. So all the sentences that follow have to do with it. My next item needs to be from a piece of text. This one says, for example, the article states that 90% of pet owners report spending less money on a cat than a dog. I got that right out of a passage that I read. I didn't have to think of it. I didn't make it up. Evidence is real. It's right on the page. Here's the part that I made up. Here's the part where I show my own thoughts about that evidence and how it proves my point. Also notice it's the largest part of the paragraph. It's color-coded so you can see the analysis needs to be the most. Your thoughts need to stand out. So I've made a point in green. I've supported it with a piece of text in orange. And now in red, here's what I think. Many people are budget conscious these days. This doesn't have to mean that families can't enjoy the companionship of a pet. Due to the fact that they require less cost to maintain, they can be a good alternative. They don't need as many accessories and tend to eat less, therefore costing owners less money. So that's kind of my thoughts on that quote that I picked from the text. What I think that means, why I think that matters, and that's your analysis. And then the last thing you see in a paragraph is the L, the link. And here's where you kind of leave your reader with a final sentence. Connect back to your topic, leave them kind of a summary, and move on. And what you'll notice here in this paragraph is all the pieces put together. You'll see that at the end, I have a link. So after I talk about it with my own thoughts, I'm just going to close it out. Likely, before getting a pet, people consider cost. Cats prove to be a good choice in this respect. So I'm talking about cats being a good choice. I kind of link it back to my subject, and I have indicated that I'm ready to either move on to my next subject or that my paragraph is finished. Now, what you might be wondering, and hopefully you were, is that isn't there an R in Pearl? And that is correct. The R simply stands for repeat. So once you have a set of evidence and analysis, you have that initial EA, in order to get a top score and in order to have a full essay, you'll want to repeat that process, another E and another A. However, right now for this week, we're just going to have PEAL. Because once you figure out how to do the E and the A, you can simply repeat it. So right now, it's just going to be peel. It's going to be your turn here to identify the components and to put together a paragraph. You're going to write about Maya. So first, take the Peel practice quiz. You'll see that in this week's folder. And what it will be is a couple different paragraphs that are in pieces. And you'll click and drag the pieces to be in the correct PEAL order. And then you'll see that you'll have instructions for writing a Peel paragraph about Maya. I'm going to be giving you some points to choose from, and then you're going to be in charge of finding the evidence and deciding on your analysis. That's going to be something you write on paper and that you bring to class with you so that we can talk about it. So take a look at both of those items in this week's folder, and they will help you with this lesson that I have just presented.